So today I'll be talking to you a little bit about covert narcissists. When we think of narcissists, we usually think of overt narcissists, which are ones that tend to be flashy or like to talk to other people about their achievements, and they tend to be pretty obvious to a lot of people. The covert narcissist, however, tends to play more of a victim role. So instead of saying how wonderful they are in different ways, they will tell you that they're a victim at work and nobody likes them. And the reason why they didn't get promoted is because people don't understand how much they've contributed. And it's very hard to spot covert narcissists because they look pretty standard when you meet them. So when you meet them, they tend to be self-effacing. They tend to even kind of poke fun at themselves. And you may be lured into thinking, oh, this is a pretty healthy person, because the narcissists you may have known tend to be pretty flashy and outward. So again, a covert narcissist tends to be quieter. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're introverted, but it does mean that you may see that they have few friends. They tend to, again, play the victim. They still can have narcissistic rages. So when a narcissist has a narcissistic injury, which means that they feel that they've been dismissed or things are out of their control, they do react with extreme anger to the point where sometimes the anger just doesn't even, what they're saying doesn't make sense. That's a narcissistic rage. And then you have the fallout afterwards. And the same pattern of narcissistic relationships applies, which means in the beginning they idealize you, they mirror what you're doing, so you find that you have a lot of the same interests, and you've never met someone that matches up so much with you. They're doing that because they're trying to absorb kind of what you are so they can kind of get you to get hooked to them. And then there's a devaluing process. So once they know you're in, then they start kind of picking at things, and then it escalates into, and now you can do no right. And then there's the discard phase. And usually that will start with a narcissistic rage, or they found new narcissistic supply, which means they found someone else to latch onto, or they also will, if you leave, or if they leave, they'll try to hoover you, which means they try to suck you back into the relationship. And that three-stage process, idealizing, devaluing, and discard, is the same as for covert narcissists as it is for overt narcissists. Now, in our diagnostic manual, we don't have covert narcissism under the category narcissistic personality disorder. So you won't see in a diagnostic manual, but you can kind of see where this type of person flies under the radar. So if you get in a relationship with someone like this, again, watch for someone that is blaming others for their behavior, because that's the same amongst narcissists. They will not take responsibility for their own behavior, and they'll put it on you or put it on someone else. They will not take responsibility. They also will never apologize for their behavior because they don't think they did anything wrong. So that's the same between covert and overt narcissists, is that lack of responsibility and lack of apologizing. Also, if you get hoovered back into this type of relationship, it does not get better. It just tends to get worse, and narcissist escalates because now they've figured out what they need to do to get you back into the relationship. And if they don't apologize for their behavior and you go back into the relationship, then they think that they don't have to do that they got away with it. And so they've learned kind of what your limit is. And also with covert narcissists, you may find too that they're going from job to job because they have gotten in trouble at work or for sabotaging someone or doing other inappropriate behaviors. But again, they'll play the victim. So again, this is different than overt narcissists tend to be more flashy, grandiose, life of the party. And these are people that tend to, the covert narcissist is the type of person that tends to make themselves smaller, plays a victim. Also, they will, again, not take responsibility for their behavior at all, just like the overt narcissist. So that's a little bit about a covert narcissist. They can be really hard to catch, and sometimes you aren't going to know until you're in a relationship with one. The best thing to do is to go no contact, because again, if you're prone to hoovering, then you may get back in the relationship, and usually these relationships are, they tend to even get worse. So again, the solution is no contact. If you can't go no contact because you have kids together or for other reasons, it's helpful to go limited contact. and also to set your boundaries, and also you need to enforce those boundaries as well. And keep in mind that boundaries are not negotiable. If someone doesn't want to follow your boundaries, that doesn't mean you need to change your boundaries. It means that you need to look at what actions you need to take to separate from that person. So that's a little bit about covert narcissism.